You get into it, we'll go.
All right, we're getting into it. It's the principal. I'm JB Mathers, aka the Honorable. I'm not sure how that happened. He is semi-pro, Mr. Flamingo, Miami Vice. It's the principal is the show. Now, Mikey, last time we did what we call teasing the business, and you asked me to explain why it's called It's the Principal. And I know we say that all the time, but I'm old and I've had way too many cocktails. I have no idea why we called it that. So please enlighten all of us.
It had to do. We were at it was a CBS Invitational at Baywood, right? Yeah, and you were out by the fire pit. You'd had a few too many scotches, and you wanted to talk about the membership going on at Baywood. And you were talking to my old man, and you were saying, hey, listen, I understand we did this membership drive. This is what I'm paying. Why are these people paying so much less? And then he started explaining to you, and you just repeatedly kept yelling, it's the principal. It's the principal. Why am I paying more? It's the principal. And you must have said it 47 times.
Well,
how it was the principal. It is. It is.
For the
record,
the principal. I'm still, for the folks that I get charged a full family membership to be at Baywood. I've been a member there for, I don't know, 12, 13 years now. I don't have a family. I'm not married. I have a cat. My cat doesn't golf. Okay, let's put it.
Your cat's great. Your cat is great.
Cat is great. A little under the weather. Tux, get feeling better. So I still pissed. And then we've got all these Giacomo new members in there who pay like half of what I do, and everything's catered to them, and I don't get shit. And then to top it off, the one bonus I do get is I'm allowed one free guest a month, right? Oh, so there's my family. So in October, I took your boy Adam Aranio.
The slowest player on the planet. Adam Aranio,
former
the slowest player.
And now he caddies at Madison Club, which does not suck.
The Madison Club.
Thank you. And so I took him out. So I get charged. My November bill shows up, and they full on charge me for a guest fee. So I pay my bill minus the guest fee. I call the chick in the office. I'm like, hey, blah, blah, blah. I'm not paying it. So I get a nasty gram letter from them the other day saying, hey, this is a notice of your delinquency on your payment, and your next payment's almost due. Please don't make us, send a second. Oh, I was fired up. So I sent a nasty gram back. I said, hey, I talked to the lady in the office. You mofos overcharged me. So why don't you get it straight? Because in fact, I overpaid. So save yourself a stamps and get your shit together next time. And then, oh, I'm so sorry. I totally forgot, blah, blah, blah. And then so to top it off, when we're done here, I got to go to Baywood and have a crappy lunch. So that way I can make my quarterly minimum, because I'm not going to be here the rest of the year.
Just so you know, it happens at every golf club, not country just ours. Problems. Lots of country club problems, or, country club bullshit, whatever you want to call it. I mean, there's stuff down here where like I've gotten my bill and I look at it and I'm just going, wait, hang on. I did not buy a round of drinks for my table. They would talk, oh, this guy put it on there.
If it said a round of Fireball, you'd be like, I probably.
Yeah, that was probably me. That was probably me.
Froze all day. You kind of know. I think you guys confused with the ladies' table next to us.
Yeah, I did not get a spritzer at the turn. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. It's standard country club problems. It happens. But anyway, that's how we start with It's the Principal. And one time I was sitting there, I was having a stogie, having a couple scotches, and I went down memory lane, drunken recollection. And I said, oh my God, we ought to call the podcast It's the Principal. Like, here's the thing. If you're playing a match and you have a 4-footer and you're like, hey, is this good? And they go, no, you got to putt it. It's the principal. It's the principal of the match. You got to putt it. Right. But if you have someone who's struggling a little bit or this or that, they're playing way over their handicap, you know what? Just write them down for a double and say, hey, you know what? That 6-footer's good. Right. It's for momentum. It's the principal.
If it's you, piss off. You got to make it. If it's a hot chick, someone I'm trying to make a sale to, the president of my company, 10-footer, you're good. You're pretty much automatic from there.
I tell you what, shout out to Scott Pesh, Coach Pesh, for playing the entire back nine in all black with his shirt untucked. Didn't even tell him to tuck it in. Didn't get called on it. That's when you know you owned the day.
Well, shout out to Scott. You knew that he was going to get the $1,000 bill from our day at the country.
$1,000 bill, man. Hey, and you know what I would do? I would blame Rodney Dickerson for that.
Well, I think Rodney we should have got a free round when that dinosaur member came by and asked to feel Rodney's muscles.
Well, here's the thing. We talked about this. I don't even know if we talked about this on the last podcast, but they said, oh my God, we don't want Brian Giles in because we don't want more fraternal behavior in the club. And, oh, he was too much one of the boys. And every athlete in there was like, that's bullshit. We want more. We want a little bit more. Obviously don't get out of line. It's still a country club, right? But we don't want the guy that's going to come in, pay his dues, push cart and drink iced teas afterwards. We had a guy last night. I love this guy, 78 years old. He was my partner yesterday, still pegs it pretty good. And all he does is drink iced tea after the round. Just another iced tea. And he started complaining he couldn't get a refill. He's like, what do you got to do for another round around here? I'm like, George, you're drinking iced tea.
Yeah, she's not making any money on that.
Let's go over here and get another round of Don Julio Frescas over here. That's a $48 bill. And then we'll refill your iced tea later. All right. Like, come on, dude.
Let's be honest. The real reason Brian Giles did not get admitted to the country club is because clearly you have female board members and Brian Giles' wife is way too hot.
Is way too hot. She's way too hot, and she is the coolest chick on the planet. You have dinner with her, man. She talks to you about anything and everything. You know, we're obviously not going to get too much into that, but she could not be more of a legit person. He's very open about all of his stuff. And they just sit there and they go, oh, you know what? He got too comfortable around here. He shouldn't have been acting that way as a perspective. I'm like, you know what? If you can't be yourself around someplace, why would you even want to join there? And our club
did him a favor.
Yeah, and he's over at another club right now where I think there's 3 fist fights a day, and the membership over there is awesome. Bud Lights and fights, baby. Bud Lights and fights.
Sounds like a good time. Speaking of good times, I just got back from Cabo San Lucas, which is still tentatively your bachelor party destination, but it doesn't look good. I'll be honest. So I got back there, and obviously Cabo is the greatest place ever. I mean, hands down, it is epic. However, the one issue, and I found myself, it reminded me of being in college again. I had to take my COVID test 24 hours before my flight so I could get back to America. And I'm like, shit, this reminds me of being in college going for a final that I didn't study for. It's basically a toss-up, and I don't know if I'm going to pass this thing or not. And fortunately, I passed. It was on for 24 hours. Get me on the plane. Get me the hell back to the greatest country in the whole world, the United States of America. But with that said, a couple people I was down there with, one of them didn't pass the test, right? So the hotel's like, hey, we got to talk to you. You need to quarantine immediately. We're going to give you 1 free night, but the rest of the time you either got to pay the $400 a night or go somewhere else. So obviously she's in a panic. Like, you're just not going to sit in a hotel room for 2 weeks, right? Like, that's garbage. So they're like, well, can you give us another test? Make sure it's right. They're like, no, we stick to our results. So she goes to another place. Guess what? Boom, positive. So now she's in a panic, and they're like, well, maybe go to the hospital and they've got like a different type of test and it's more accurate. She goes there. Guess what? Positive. Boom. So now we've got a problem here. But God bless Mexico. What does she do? So I'm not going to give any names out. Goes to another pharmacist and says, hey, look, how much dinero is it going to cost for you to come up with me for a negative test? $150. We can make that happen. She safely made her flight and got back to America.
Perfect.
Money talks.
I bet you she was asymptomatic, probably had nothing. It's like,
nothing.
Random stuff. And that's the whole bullshit thing with the COVID. Don't start. Speaking of that, like we were going to move into this eventually, but going into that, the NFL is a complete disaster. The NHL is suspending its season. The NBA's thought about it. And I'm just going, okay, listen, I know the Lakers are 500. Okay. But you don't have to suspend your season due to COVID protocols because of the quote unquote new variant. Okay.
I think the NHL is a disaster. I don't know why they're canceling games. And I'm usually not a big NBA fan as far as the way they run their stuff, but I'll give them credit on this one. They're asking Adam Silver. They're like, what do you think about, canceling games for Christmas? And he's like, why? He's like, yeah, people are testing positive, but they're boosted or they're vaxxed and nothing's wrong with them. So we're going to move forward. The NFL switched their tune and said, look, if you're vaxxed or if you're asymptomatic, look, we're going to shorten it down and make it, move forward. And I think it's really example actually for the country. You got these players who are healthy. Nobody's dying. Maybe some people are getting sick, but they're proving, I think, and that's what Adam Silver said is COVID's not going anywhere. We got to learn to live with it. And I actually credit the NBA by saying, look, we're not going to cancel games. We're not going to shut things down because COVID's not going anywhere. Nobody's keeling over and dying. So how about we actually play games and learn to live with this thing?
99.97% recovery rate. I mean, people that get it and they die. I mean, they had an underlying health condition that they were eventually going to die anyways, right? Or they're elderly. How many people?
You were going to die anyway.
I mean, you're just going to die anyways. We're all going to die anyways.
It's
like, listen, I've had a good 33 years of life. Okay, if I go get a vaccine, and you and I are opposite here. It's like you got it because you want to go on your trip to Scotland. I decided not to get it after talking to an infectious disease virologist doctor, and he goes, Mike, you have the antibodies. Why would you're a young, healthy guy. Why would you risk getting a adverse reaction to the vaccine. Maybe I have heart condition. I want to have kids one day. It's like I made what was the best decision for me and my family, and other people make the best decision for their family. Go on with it. Live your life. I don't need to show my papers. This isn't 1939 Germany. I mean, come on. It's like, what did people do
look,
before this? Oh, you got sick and you stay home for 7 days.
I
Fine.
mean, look, people can get vaxxed, not vaxxed. It's up to them. It's a personal choice. I agree.
Personal
If you're
choice.
worried about it, stay home. I'm going to go out and live my life. And that's just the way it is. I mean, the thought of sitting at home with my thumb up my ass for the last 2 years sounds very concerning. I know a lot of people have done that, but you know what? It's your personal choice. It's a free country. So
You have big thumbs too. You have big
So I
thumbs
got
too,
that.
right there.
I got that going for me. All right. Hey, so where are we back to Nashville, or what are we thinking for bachelor party destinations?
In terms of more people going, I think we're kind of back to that whole Nashville deal.
Okay.
In terms of we want more people to be there, we can have a little bit of the Chicago crowd.
I want your dad there. That's what I want. I want
geez,
Senior there.
Right,
And
oh
Senior,
man,
like the way I looked at it when those guys did, people were bitching out because Cabo and the test. I was like, screw them, they're weenies, whatever. But then when I heard Senior might not come, I was like, all right, it's time to reevaluate this whole thing.
Reevaluate. You're in charge of this. Let's send it back out. Let's get a little bit of a feeler out there. Be like, hey, what do y'all think in Nashville? We might even go to Omaha and play with Danny Woodhead. Play some golf. It's
You're
like
not going to Omaha for a bachelor party.
They got great steaks out there.
Going on a golf trip to Omaha, playing golf with your boy Danny, which I want to hear how that went. We're still waiting for updates on that, but we are not going to Omaha. I mean, you want to talk about a depth chart? Omaha is buried down. I mean, Mike, we're going in March. It could still be snowing in Omaha.
You're going to Bandon next week.
Yeah, it's on the coast. It's not going to snow. And Bandon is the greatest place ever. And I would suggest it there. But guess what?
Well, yeah. Well, I wasn't being serious about Omaha.
Certain things we need in bachelor parties that we cannot get accommodated at Bandon. And obviously,
that's also true.
Blue Jack National. But the problem with Blue Jack is they're a little more towards the Pinnacle Peak side. So, like, I think if we were bringing entertainment things in that were non-country club related, they would frown upon that. And it's not my memberships.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're not going to get in trouble. It's not your membership. Petey can deal with it. Petey can deal with it. He'll be fine. He'll get over it. I mean, if he gets kicked out of Blue Jack, it's fine. It's fine.
Except he will never talk to me again, which maybe isn't necessarily the end of the world anyway.
I think that'd be okay. But like,
where's your lady going on her bachelorette?
She hasn't even decided that
So
yet. She might have some friends come in and go Old Town Scottsdale for which, by the way, if we didn't live in Old Town, or live in Scottsdale, I mean, Old Town Scottsdale is a great spot to
absolutely go. But you live there, and Baxter told me that you for some reason your car does not go south of your house, so it'd be like weird having it in North Scottsdale.
Baxter, that's fake news. I go south of my house about 2 miles. Okay, but we're up here in the bell bubble. I got my house. It's right on the golf course. I can just work from home, do my stuff. I mean, it's great. Baxter's just mad that he doesn't live up here. Is all I'm gonna say about that. But if you want to go back when we were talking about the NFL bachelor party, whatever NFL, do you think that there's something going on with the Rams? I mean, 2 years ago they're playing the Saints and there is no pass interference call on a guy that got completely shelled on a pass going out of bounds, which was blatant.
I've got the answer to this question.
I know, and here's the thing, and it happened again with Seattle. It was a blatant call right in front, and I hate Seattle. I hate Seattle with an absolute passion. But I'm having flashbacks to the NBA in 2002 when the Kings and Lakers were playing. The foul calls were 27-4.
I've got the answer to this question. You ready? Have you ever heard the term the mush? Have you ever seen Bronx Tale? Yeah, exactly. Money. I had money on the Seahawks +5, and they're ready to close them out down there deep in their end zone. Phantom call, Cooper Kupp. They go on and score a touchdown. Bullshit. Okay, this is classic gambling degenerate crap. And then next thing you know, they're going, hey, backdoor cover, get the touchdown. I cash in on my Cheddar Bob, bring me the Benjamin Franklins. Oh, a guy gets absolutely mugged on a 4th and 6. If that was a quarterback, whoever hit him would have been out of the game and probably suspended from the NFL for 1,000 years. Instead, they eat their whistle. Seahawks lose by 10. I got to eat top ramen for the rest of the week. Bullshit.
We'll definitely have to have you over this week. We'll definitely have to have you over this weekend then and get some of Mom's cooking though. If you're on the top, no wonder you're wanting to come over.
Tortilla soup.
Man,
Go.
No wonder that you are wanting to come over to the Dominic
Oh, when I heard you're back in
establishment.
the house this week, I was supposed to go to Denver for Christmas, but long story short, not going to Denver for Christmas, but gonna get to spend Christmas with my grandmother. She's 92, so that's just awesome.
No, that's great. Spend as
So,
much time as you can. But there's definitely some stuff going on in the NFL. I mean, you've seen it.
I don't
I've
know.
seen
If
it.
you
The
want the
NBA.
conspiracy theory, the Rams are big market, blah, blah, blah. Look, I think the Rams are a total sham. I think they've mortgaged the future for right now. They don't have, mark my word, they're not going to do shit in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. Stafford, 0
Unless
playoff
I've
wins
got
in his
money
career.
against them.
Well, if you have money against them to not win the Super Bowl, guess what? They're gonna win the Super Bowl.
I've
So
told
if you want me
myself
to
a million
backdoor that
times,
bet
I'm
for
going to
you,
go Oppo one of these days. And one of these days, I'm going to learn. And it's just whatever I want to bet, I'm going to go Oppo. Because I just had to pay my bookie, in fact, like 10 minutes ago before we got on this stupid
no
podcast.
wonder.
And that's a
Bitter
painful-
party of one.
That is
Bitter
a
party of one.
painful,
Table for Mathers, party of one.
painful
Bitterness.
Venmo to make. Let's just say we have a deal, right? When it gets to a certain number, I owe him or he owes me. I'm still waiting for my first payment.
Well, you know what? I would tell you to call our boy Mitch Berger in order to get some advice. But a few years ago, he went in and picked every playoff game, got everyone wrong. So even though the guy is a 14, 15-year NFL vet,
Well,
he still got it wrong. Vegas always wins.
Vegas
Vegas
well, it's
always
not
wins.
built on winners, that's for sure. All right, hey, you and DW, Danny Woodhead, got together on the links. How did that come together, and how did it go? Did you
Well-
smash him, or are you still waiting to catch up with him on the course?
Oh my God. Well, he literally texted me about 10:45, picture of his kids by the pool. And I'm like, man, it looks really warm in Omaha today. Like, holy crap. And he goes, oh dude, I'm in Scottsdale. And I'm like, no way. Well, we were teeing off at 11:45 on our money game on Saturday. I call him, I go, what are you doing? And he's like, nothing. I'm like, well, can you be here in 20 minutes? He goes, absolutely. So we zipped up here in an Uber or whatever it was. Wife dropped him off. I got to meet her. I mean,
He
she's
didn't have a minivan.
he had a rental minivan, but it was blacked out. It was totally cool.
Well,
He was thinking about upgrade.
Yeah, you can't see.
Yeah, you can't see, right? So wife is super awesome, drops him off. He comes out, hits 10 balls, and we go peg it and tee it up as a 5-some. And a lot of the guys in our group were Patriots fans and all that. We of course, poor Chico didn't really know who Danny Woodhead was. So he's like, oh, look, another short guy like me. This is going to be great. And then he watched him play and he goes, okay, this guy's a little out of my league. He's a little out of my league. But I did stick it to Woody out there. The poor guy who went out of bounds on 17. He got a mile left, hit it right, trying to play the boomerang. Didn't quite work. And then he had to tell me what a creative minded player he was.
Oh,
and I go, yeah, you're a very left-minded creative guy. Doesn't like to hit the ball straight, a little bit of a homemade golf swing, but Woody had a great time. Greens were rolling to 13.5. It was green. It was 70 degrees. Woody had a great time.
another great day in Scottsdale, it sounds like.
Just another great day in Scottsdale. It's a little cold today. It's 65 degrees down here. Yours truly played 7 rounds of golf in 6 days, getting ready to come home and play the simulator, But Woody, I'll tell you what about Woody is like, even though, guy played for the Patriots, played with Tom Brady, played for the Chargers with Phillip Rivers.
Has golf out at Dismal River.
Right. Yeah. Out at Dismal River, played a million holes of golf in his cart by himself. But he will literally blend in with anybody that he plays with. We just had some old guys out there to kind of want to play, rip around, kind of knew who he was. But dude, he took pictures, signed a couple autographs, like hung out with him. The other thing was though, is that we had Sean O'Hare and Wyndham Clark in that group as well, but they were 2 groups ahead of us. Okay.
Star Power Day.
So exactly. So they look over and those guys are like, dude, is that Danny Woodhead? And I'm like, no. It's just another short white guy that played in the NFL. No, of course it was Danny Woodhead.
Redwoods.
Yeah. Oh my God. He's got the greatest legs. I got to tell you, but he does wear ankle pants. But they're not really ankle pants. They just don't make them long enough for him.
They don't make
he's got a little cover, he's got a little cover on there, but Woody, he did not sleep for like 12 hours, flew in that morning at 6:30 a.m. overnight, whatever. Gets in, teed it up, played some golf, had a beer with the boys afterwards, talked some pro sports with Wyndham and Sean. And it was cool to be a fly on the wall for that because they know a lot of the same people. And even those guys, like Sean used to be best friends with Tiger. And he's like, man, like this Danny guy is pretty cool, So
when are we getting Sean O'Hare on for some Tiger stories?
Man, shit, dude, he didn't even tell us the Tiger stories. That's how you know how locked
Tiger
up
makes him sign like an NDA anytime you hang out. Anything we ever did. Silence the word.
Stays in the bubble. I think though, for our first guest collab season, we should do it with Woody and Slaw. And I'll even let Slaw tell a few stories.
I was gonna say, I really would rather see you and Slaw in the same room. So when you continue to cut him off, he can like try to stick you in the light socket or something.
Jesus Christ. I mean, that guy Slot. I mean, I asked him when he played golf. I'm like, dude, so how many beers on average do you drink in a round? He's like, well, normally a 12 pack of Busch Light Tall Boys. Then I'll switch over to the Basil Hayden. And his Basil Hayden, he gets quadruple Basil Hayden. You saw it at Dismal, and he is just unfazed. He is absolutely unfazed.
He referred to the Fireball as mouthwash.
He was
mouthwash.
He was not a fan of the Fireball, even though he did it. He did not discriminate.
Nobody says they like Fireball, but when the rubber meets the road, hey, you got any more of that Fireball?
Yeah, right. Yeah, Can I switch it around a little bit? And, and here's the thing: it's not overly alcoholic. You can still do shots and celebrate. It's not like drinking Bookers or Bakers or whatever you were drinking, which is
the brokers. I call it brokers because my mental capacity about to be broke when I'm done with that Bookers. No doubt. About that one. Mikey Dominic, JB Mathers, he's semi-pro. I am the honorable. Can we, since we're talking about people from Dismal, something went completely overlooked. How the hell was the Godfather in Mark Davis's owner suite for the Raider game? Can somebody please explain this to me?
I don't really think I have an answer.
That just went completely. Nobody like called out Jason. Like, did you give Mark Davis some sub 70s? Are you now his stylist because he looked like he's dressed from Dumb and Dumber? Like, what is going on here? The fact that like he was there and it went completely overlooked. I've got a lot of question marks.
I'm just saying, like, those guys are so low-key good at what they do. Their customer service is impeccable. The clubs are great. I finally got my TA3s built. They're awesome. They send me anything I want, and I was like a freaking semi-pro. They're like, dude, we just like you. Here you go. Here's your stuff. Like that's how good their customer service is. But I mean, they're low-key building clubs for George Clooney, right? George Clooney, when he's not doing Nespresso commercials,
or
is
making
now
billions of dollars from selling Casamigos. Oh, did we lose Mikey? Did Mikey freeze up? We lost you there, Mikey. Did you? I think George Clooney must have. You said Clooney, and like his people came in from China and shut you down there.
Dude, I think my Alexa might be listening. Shit.
But anyways, off, bro.
It is off.
That or she needs to.
It's unplugged. It right. Like I told Melissa, I'm like, could you imagine? I'm like, I go, if they actually like knew what we were talking about, then I laugh, she laughs, and Alexa laughs. I'm like, oh fuck. But yeah, but with George, it's like those guys. I mean, Penny Hardaway. I mean, they go down. Penny treats them to courtside seats at the Memphis game, right? They drive in a freaking Winnebago down there. Whatever the drive is, 13 hours.
All right. Well, Jason's
drive down there.
Fan of those long drives.
Oh, Jason loves the long drives. He just doesn't drive it long.
Sycamore to Dismal tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna play 72 holes in 2 days. Have a nice steak and a wedge salad.
Likes the white horse.
Couldn't kill you to mow some grass. It's the principle.
I mean,
you got hack golfers out here.
That place was designed not by Jack. It was designed by Stevie Wonder. Okay. There are more blind shots out there than anywhere should exist. Wow. We lost Mikey again. Look at, dude, here I am in Eureka, California, and I've got great internet. This dude is in Scottsdale, Arizona. And look, that is his internet right there. What a joke. So with that said, I guess we're done. That is the end of It's a Principle. He's semi-pro. You see that frozen screen? That is why he's semi-pro. And I'm the honorable. You've been listening to It's the Principle. Thanks for joining us.
There it is. You're back.